Yo, hello everyone, my name is VZI and this is part 2 of my live looping setup tutorial kind of thing. So this time I'm trying to give you a massive, a very detailed, in-depth look of my setup, what's going on, what are my needs, like, yeah, I'm trying to cover every little aspect for you. Feel free to ask if there are still some questions, like drop me a mail, drop a comment below, whatever. I'm trying to help you as good as possible. So have fun, I can't wait, let's dive straight into it.
Thanks for joining. So this is gonna be the very detailed look inside my live set, what's really going on inside every track, what effects I'm using, what tools, devices. So yeah, I thought like I have to split this up in different topics. So let's first of all start with the routing, because that's something like very important. Okay, as I mentioned in part 1, these blue tracks here are my incoming tracks. So that means here from vocal, trumpet, are three keys. Guitar and bass, these are my physical instrument I have connected to my sound card, and they're going straight out on the same channel as you can see here. Then I have 3 more additional VST instruments which I can trigger here. I cover that later. And yeah, on all these tracks the signal goes straight out on the sound card, so basically in and out. I have full adjustment over these volume levels. And additionally to that, like I mentioned before, all my return in my return channels are all my loopers. So switch that on. Okay. Let's take the vocals for example. As you can see here on that track, signal is coming in and it's going out. Yeah. So I have turn up, send A, B, C and send H. Which means now looper A, B, C, and looper H, they're getting signal here, as you can see. So with that looper thing, the only thing you have to take care is that you set this in-output thing to never, because that means it doesn't let the audio go through until you made a loop. Which means here the audio is waiting here, you can record something and then it goes through. And then the signal will get routed to this corresponding black track here, like I said, my master outs. So from 1 to 8, all signals, everything I'm looping in here, they go straight to 1 to 8 here, to these master outs. So in fact, let's make a quick beat to really show that what I in fact mean. Ah, that was off time. Again. To give you an idea what's really going on in here, it's fine to have some audio to work with. Okay. Yeah, and let's make a beat as well. Okay, let's stop that. Maybe you watched the looper where the signal is coming. So like I said, on track 1 I made this beatbox loop, this short beatbox loop. So this signal gets routed to track 1 over here, and this is where the output is. Wait, I turn this one off. Yeah. like I mentioned before as well, with all the clip tracks, it's working the same way. All these 1 to 8, they're gonna get routed to here into these 8 master out tracks, and yeah, that's it. Basically, the rough routing. Also, another thing I have here in in my return tracks is a delay return track, which works like that. On my master outs and on my incoming tracks, I can send signal to this specific track, but there's nothing in this track sitting. See, there's no audio effect. So what I'm doing, I send the signal to a track back, like sitting in my stuff folder. Yeah, here. So that send return track, this is where the signal gets sent to. So let's say I turn up this send, and then you can see signals coming to it. So there's nothing special with that, but the reason why I routed this back to a single channel, to like a normal channel, not a return channel, is I have the ability to first of all make an audio effect track and put like 8 different chains in it, and with different delay rates, like different delay timings. And I have the possibility now to map 8 clips and set make them to go through the chain selector over here. So as you can see, I mapped this to my 3rd row over here, like this row, and with that row I can like determine which delay or which effect I want to use. So if I turn up this one, I have this sort of delay. If I go like here, oh, this was the wrong one. Another delay, shorter. And this is a reverb, spring, a big spring reverb. That's a plate, and that's another plate. So yeah, this is how that send and return thing works. Yeah, the cool thing is, like I said, I have the possibility to send from all of my tracks, like individually, a certain amount of signal to one of these 8 return effects. So yeah, that's a very handy way of having different effects, sections or settings inside one single track. Yeah. What else? What's over there? I don't even know that. Yeah, that's my bright long reverb. Yeah, I'm gonna cover that in the effect section. That's basically just a momentary long reverb I can put on all of my instruments. So that's set it to gate and not to like toggle. So it's a momentary function. As long as I hold it, this signal gets sent, and if I take the finger off, it's gone. So that's handy as well. Okay, input, output routing, I think it's roughly covered. I mean, you can see my settings here. If you have any questions, just like ask me if there's still something not clear. Okay, next thing we can talk about. Let's go through all the tracks just quickly. What's inside which effects, and then yeah, you get an idea. So first, the 8 clip tracks. There's nothing in it. I mean, this track is a drum rack track where I made the beat before, as you could see. This is a MIDI track, and I'm gonna explain that as well a bit later. This is part of the effect section, this whole drum, my drum rack. So apart from these tracks, there's nothing in it. In track 6, yeah, here's that follow scene device in it, which is a great device of Isotonic Studios. They release regularly awesome devices for Max for Life, like Ableton related, and yeah, you should definitely check them out if you don't know them. Like Isotonic Studios are definitely top of the top. So, and that's a very handy tool. I use this tool, for example, for one of my tracks, which is written in 9/8, and basically the chorus goes 3 bars in 4/4, and the last bar, like the 4th bar of the chorus, is again in 9/8. So the way I made this happening to trigger the certain clips is that I divided this whole thing in 8 notes, which means 3 bars of 4/4 is like 8 with like 3 times 8, and then one additional 9/8, which is 33/8 basically. So I made a clip in 33/8. And this device then allows me to automatically go to the next scene when that clip is gone, or basically when the next one is starting. So yeah, that's a very cool tool. It has many features. So there is nothing in here, like I said. So next one is a lyrics track, which is simply just having some empty clips in it, which named with the first few words how my verse is starting, because sometimes, you know, I tend to forget that when there's loads of shit going on. So these 8 tracks, like my master out tracks, these are the tracks where all my effects sitting in it. And I'm gonna cover that as well later, but as you can see, there is always the same effect. These first 3 or 4 effects, they in all of these 8 tracks in it the same, because I can set them to all, influence them all, or just really every single instrument. So yeah, but like I said, I'm gonna cover that bit later. The next one in here are the inputs. Like I said, this is a MIDI piano, or like I mentioned before, these 3 VST instruments. I can switch them on here. Piano, next track is a Rhodes track, and the next one is an organ. So yeah, that's very handy. So I can use these 3 sounds and mix them together with all the sounds from my R3. Which gives a nice, lots of possibilities basically. So next, bass track. Bass, I don't have anything in there, an amp, a little bit of compression, tuner, that's it. In my guitar track, there's guitar rig in it, which is alright. I mean, yeah, it's definitely not perfect, but it does the job. To be honest, I can choose from 12 different sounds here, and yeah, it does the job, like I said. I mean, there's definitely sound quality-wise, it's not top of the top, but yeah, for me it's more important. I don't need to have studio quality out on stage. Most of the time you don't hear that anyway, like these little differences. So guitar rig is fine for this purpose. And CPU-wise, really okay, I have to say. EQ, tuner, utility, nothing special. R3 keys, like this keyboard, the audio from the R3, fade to gray, nothing special. Trumpet track, there's just an EQ in it, and on my vocal track, yeah, there's loads of it. There's loads of shit in it. But this is as well part of the effects section, I think. Instant sampler I have as well, which is I can record something in real time and play it off in different keys, or like polyphonic, which is as well very funny and handy, but again, effect section. So let's go quickly about the stuff folder, and this is when everything starts already, like that real shit's going on. So yeah, stuff folder is where there's loads of different stuff in it. So I just go from left to right to let's see what's inside. I have here, the first 2 tracks are a whoosh track, it's called. So this is nothing else than a simple audio effect track with 3 chains sitting in it, and every chain has a operator and like loads of other effects, and I'm simulating a white noise riser thing with one simple button. So I start that here. Basically, I trigger that empty clip there, or this is actually a sidechain bass drum clip. And now, if I move up the fader, I have a riser basically. The big advantage: 3 different versions. That's its chat one. Yeah, this is why I need the the sidechain kick for. So that big advantage of this whoosh rack, what I made, let's call it whoosh rack, is that instead of clips you have a predetermined length, like a bar or 2 bars. So with that one you really move up your finger as you, when it comes to a bigger, like a drop, you know, how they call it. Yeah, and then you have like more kind of impact. But that's very handy, yeah, free to download for everyone. You can take that thing out and use it. Manipulate it the way you want it. Next track here is a samples track, which is nothing else than, that's something I need a lot because I play loads of reggae, so yeah, that's a must. Next track is a percussion track, so I have additionally to all the percussion I'm looping, I can trigger 8, like this is that orange row, this is where these 8 MIDI clips are sitting in it, and this is basically just like as you can see here, like different percussion loops. Sometimes handy, because like I said, I play loads of Latin. So you get the idea. These tracks, yeah, this is part of my drum rack. Yeah, let's talk about the drum rack now. So the drum rack sitting on bank A here. By the way, I didn't mention that. I have on this Akai MPD226, you have like 4 banks to choose from. So 4 times 4 banks for these 16 buttons. On bank A is where my drum set is, and the way this whole drum rack is set it up, I made again an audio effect rack with 8 chains in it, and now on my bank 7 here, I can choose which one of these chains drum kits I can use. So if I go for, like, for example, the first one, the second one, wait, let's mute that all. More like a hip hoppy one. This one is reggae. This one is more like an electronic one. This one, yeah, and yeah. So basically 8 different drum kits and to choose from. So the cool thing about, first of all, this whole rig is that I can make my loops on the fly, like with drumming. So I made that one before. So for example, now I can choose from 8 different drum kits. So yeah, this is how it works. Let's have a look inside that track. What I mentioned before, that drum rack track, which contains one audio MIDI quantize tool, where I can. Oh, this is set to 79. This should be like 50 maximum. You can like quantize your clip you've made a little bit. If you have some 4/4 kick going, and it should be really on point. That's handy. And a delete duplicate device. So I use that often, like that I make, for example, let's wait, I show you that. So let's make a new beat, for example. So I can quantize that now, like press it 2 or 3 times, then it gets anyway always nearer to the 0. Now I can duplicate that clip, and now I could like record on it again. So now I have two different variations to choose from. Yeah, you get the idea. So that duplicate and clear thing is very handy if I don't have to go to the computer and duplicate a clip or something like that. And if my song is finished, I use that one. This is a custom-made Max for Live tool someone made me, and it basically just deletes all clips within one button press. It deletes all clips inside this track where it's sitting in. So yeah, that's very handy. But additionally to that, what I just explained with all these making beats, I can as well switch to my bank number 4. So now I have basically 64, no, in fact 63, because that one is a stop button. I have 63 MIDI beats, MIDI loops are made, and they are categorized by genres basically. So like, yeah, I cover all the genres I'm playing, and yeah, this gives me the ability to trigger another MIDI clip on top to the one I've just made, or I combine it, or like there's loads of variations. And yeah, the cool thing is with that thing, yeah, that's reggae, for example. That doesn't make so much sense. Okay, yeah. And with fills, and yeah, we're far too slow for that now. Yeah, you get the idea. Yeah. Anyway, so that's really handy to combine these two clips and to make one fatter beat out of it, or I just trigger one on top when the chorus comes in, or things like that. So that's handy. Yeah, again, like I said, free to download for everyone. You can take out these parts of this live set you need or you wanna customize for yourself, and yeah, great. So drum rack, drum group, this is all part of this whole drum rack. Okay, what else do we have here? This track is called Guitar Presets, which is nothing else than a empty MIDI track which contains 8 clips, and I set over here, as you can see, where the envelope section or the note section is, down here, program change to program 1 and 2, 3, like accordingly. And this one is routed MIDI to the guitar track where the actual guitar rig is sitting in, and select that one. So, and then you have a possibility to change your presets with a clip. Next track is the track called 8 knob, which is an empty track, totally empty, but this is where all my 8 knob mapping devices sitting in. Often I do have to map like 8 things to one fader or knob or something like that, and I prefer to do it that way because to keep your setup a bit more tidy, because I have already so many mappings. Like in my old version I had like over 300 mappings, and this was way too confusing if you like accidentally clear something you lost. So this way, that's a very cool way of mapping more things. External in, next track, is nothing else than a, yeah, like as it says, a track where I get external signal coming in and being able to loop this as well, or it gets its own dedicated looper. So I have this often with Charlie, with my drummer. He basically has his own income, his own track input for like percussion, for his SPDSX, like his electronic drum set, and other things, and he gets his own looper. He's totally free to control everything. But it's in my setup, so that's kind of handy. He doesn't need a computer, or it's just one USB cable for his trigger pad, and a visual feedback he needs. I've discovered that with a very handy tool, which you can basically mirror the looper, kind of the looper state. I think it's called like that, in fact. And I will comment that below inside the description how that thing is called. And then you have this on a floating window. So if you, for example, on duet screen, mirror your or having a second screen with your iPhone, you can move that plug into your iPhone and really see it from your iPhone. The status of the looper, what it's doing, is if it's looping, going and undo and all the things. that's handy. No, I think undo and redo is not included. That's a shame. But apart from this, it's working charm. Yeah, and the last track we talked about is send and return. We talked about this track already before. The delay rec kind of thing. So all the all the tracks are covered now. Where else do we carry on? I think let's have a quick look inside the settings, Ableton settings. There's nothing spectacular going on in here. The most important setting is that one, is the sample setting, which is the latency basically. So I'm on 64 samples, as you can see. By the way, I'm always on 44.1, which is the lowest setting you can get. I want maximum performance and not best studio sound quality. And seriously, a normal CD is in 44.1. So if I do record, I record in 24-bit. Yeah, that's okay. But in here, 44.1 and 16-bit, that's, yeah. Anyway, 64 samples is the latency, and which means the better your computer, your CPU, the better your interface, the lower you come, the less latency you have without crackles or distortion or things like that. Okay, but what I discovered, like in the last couple of years, so I tried different versions, like having good computers, like shitty interfaces, like I tried often, like I worked often with obviously with my RME interfaces, which they are super good. So I can say I got better performances with my very old, like dual core 2.2 or 2.4 gigs, and I think 4 GB of RAM, something like that. But with my good sound card, I got better performances in here than, for example, like having a super good up-to-date computer, but with a shitty sound card. So that's definitely a very important part of this whole signal chain, of this whole setup, of a live looping setup. So yeah, latency can be your enemy. But I hear often like people, oh, I can't work on that, I have a little bit of latency. I can tell you, it's not like a loop station, it's not real time, but it's practice and you get used to it. Like I do it with all the instruments. I was working on 128, I think Rock is working 128. It's definitely possible. So anyway, what else is in here? Yeah, this one you have to find out yourself. If you connect various MIDI controllers, how your settings are. Yeah, there's nothing else in it, I think, yeah. Ah, wait, what's maybe important or interesting, let's cover the settings inside my RME. Again, standard 44.1, 16 bits. This one is set it to optical ADAT, again 44.1. Like I said, to get the inputs and the outputs of my second sound card. So yeah, that's it so far with that one. So let's talk about MIDI remote scripts, because that's as well a very important part of this whole thing. First of all, have you ever wondered why you get a new MIDI controller, you install it or plug it in, and obviously it's often in the background there gets already a MIDI remote script installed somewhere, like inside your Ableton Live folder. And yeah, you select that in the preferences and it already works like charm. You have super decent features and loads of possibilities. But with inside Ableton, you're not able to do anything. Like you don't have the same potential with mapping like your knobs. Yeah, that's because of MIDI remote scripts. They have more features, more possibilities, basically, to really like act as a remote for Ableton, basically. What I've done, I got myself a program which is called, I think it was Control Surface Studio. Wait, where am I? Ah, here. Yeah, that's it. Control Surface Studio. I think I can't open that because I'm not on wireless to save CPU. But yeah, that's definitely something you should check out. It's basically a program where you can make your own custom MIDI remote scripts depending on your controller. But all the coding and stuff like that, it does it all automatically. So it's a very user-friendly software to use. So if I would like clear all my MIDI mappings inside Ableton, inside my rack, inside my setup, I would be still possible to like control the entire set, like go through all my volume settings on each bank, go use still like play, click, use the overdub button for MIDI, being able to mute the drum section, the MIDI drum section over here, being able to navigate with my red box, duplicate, clear, quantize, and being tap tempo, like all these things, like in choosing my organs and my pianos and Rhodes. So undo, redo, shift button even with various functions, my delays. So all these things basically are written into this software which will make a code, and that code communicates with Ableton like inside the core basically. So if, like I said, I would be still able to control my setup without a single MIDI mapping. For sure later on you cannot do this entire setup with that, but it already covers, like, you can separate everything a bit, like main functions, what's really important, and things where you're not going to change your track. Because now, for example, from here to, like, from left to right, until my stuff folder, I cannot add or take a track away, because otherwise the whole structure would get messed up, because you have to say, like, it's track number 21, and this, you know, to do certain things. So it's a bit of work, it gets complicated, but it's definitely worth the effort. So yeah, MIDI remote scripts, and you got to find your own favorite controller, what you like. So yeah, that's something you got to find out yourself. What we haven't covered yet are effects. Yeah, let's talk quickly about effects, what I have going on in here. First of all, I have effects on my incoming tracks, like on my blue section. Then I have effects, like most of my effects are on my black ones, like on my master out tracks. So to cover these ones quick, now let's start with the vocal track, for example. From left to right, there is first a waves and a tune, a real-time tune tool, which, yeah, if you have like jazzy harmonies, having 4 voices layering up, like if it gets difficult to really have it on point, I like to use that a little bit, but I hate it when it's like fully on, like, yeah, I'm not such an auto-tune fan. Anyway, sometimes I use it, it's handy. Low cut tool, which is just for beatboxing. Then solid dynamics, with just normal compression, then normal Q, reverb. That thing is interesting. That's a dry wet rack, basically, with a delay in it. So I can turn this up here. All I'm doing is I turn up the chain. And the cool thing about this, I mapped this button over here to my timing, to my rate, and I have as well control over the feedback knob, as you can see here. So, but that's sitting on the input track, which means when I do a loop, that one, this particular effect that gets recorded on the loop, which is cool. Often, sometimes with, like, I don't know, let's for hi-hats. You know, you can do cool shit. So, wait, in fact, I can show you something. Let's layer down some harmonies. with a simple delay, you already can do like loads of cool things. So yeah, that rack is very handy. It's simple. There is one delay. It contains one delay, so perfect. A limiter. This kind of synth bass octaving thing is interesting. Already. Basically, dry and wet over here. You can go like. Just to show you some sound example. Yeah, it's a cool tool. I just got that recently. So with these sort of things, I like to experiment a lot. A punchy driven, which is just a sort of compressor for beatboxing, to get a fat sound. Next thing over here, which is interesting, an instant sampler, which just samples. Wait, I show you that. I can have access over the start point, as you can see, over the length. Let's set this buffer size to, I don't know, to longer. That X fade and release. So let's record something. Wait. No. No. Basically, that's my voice now. I recorded that. So the cool thing, it's polyphonic. And now, where the real fun starts, is like mangling around with the length of it. Like setting your starting point, having the ability to like release, as you can see. If I set release to 100, it goes like that. So now you. Yeah, you get the idea. But that's very handy. With a percussive one, with that one you can make. See, so yeah, there's so many ways to like crank that thing up. Very great tool, yeah. What else? Effect-wise, yeah, on my master channels. Okay, let's come to the main bit. I have basically like this beat repeat over down here, this fade to gray, and this audio effect rack. I have these 3 effect racks on all of these 8 channels. And they give me the ability to, first of all, like this is my effect bank over here on my jam. So yeah, let's press play. So the first row, that white row over here, is a filter row, like a delay filter thing, which is called fade to gray, as you can see here in the second row. So that one is controlling bass and my 3 drum tracks. So I can determine on which track it's sitting, like I can switch that on and off, as you can see, like on every individual track, and just, yeah, mess around with it. So now I can take the bass out of this fade to gray thing. For example, here I have my guitar, key, trumpet and vocal track. Same thing here. Like I made already some, let's say I want to filter it out but just have my vocals running. I would like to take my vocals out and filter that thing. As you hear, guitar and keys are filtered, or the other way, just the vocals, for example. very handy rack. Fade to gray, definitely such a simple, easy device which comes with Ableton, and I use it so often and so many times already, such a long time. Second row down underneath here is a beat repeat row. I can just switch a beat repeat on that certain track on and off, but I have the ability to change within 3 different beat repeat versions or settings. So let's, where I am on the track 1, yeah, here. So let's have a quick look what's inside. You can see there's three different chains in it. And with that particular fader, I can I map this to the chain selector again, and I can select which beat repeat I'm using. So the first one, this one, is a standard beat repeat, which has no artificial effects. That one is something which goes like a pitch down thing, and that one is a beat repeat I can play additionally to my normal audio. So it's not just taking it completely dry. Wait, I show you. That's the normal one, like I said, the first one. Just second version will be that one. Fill around, but that one is quite cool. Yeah, that's how it works. The row underneath here is something like a grain. That's really hard to explain what it actually is. I can do things like that works on every track, like vocal. So yeah, like that you can really destroy your sound. And apart from this I have here I think I mentioned that earlier, on that row below here, I have my instant long bright reverb thing, which is just acts as a gate, not as a momentary thing, not as a switching thing. So as long as I hold my finger, it puts shitloads of reverb on it. That's it. So for ending things, it's really cool. So you get the idea, and that last row is just for it was as well a momentary slicer kind of thing before, but I didn't use that so often, so I changed it back to a stopping function for my clips, like for all my 1 to 8 clip row. So yeah, see, it's just stopping my clips tracks. So what else do we have to talk about? I covered the effects, I covered the send thing, that one, I covered instant sampler, the drum rack, the stuff folder. I think that's pretty it. What else? Footswitch, yeah, Footswitch, because I see it down here. Just quickly, I did spend about, I don't know, about 900 euros in the last 8 years or so, just for Footswitches. I basically wrecked them all, and a reason for that was most of the time that loose part if you plug a USB plug inside your Footswitch, because often that socket, that USB socket, is soldered to the actual board, which is a kind of very stupid thing, because as soon you like hook your cable while walking through, like if you pinch it, you know what I mean? Like your soldering points on your board gets loose or you get a bad connection, and this is where the shit begins. So yeah, I made my own one about a year ago or something, with the help of some friends. Thanks to Simon for coding, thanks to Norby for the housing. That whole thing is made out of Neroster, like of Nero. It's like a tank, I can tell you. It's not finished yet totally. There's 2 buttons missing and some LEDs. I'm still trying around with different sorts of LEDs because they got to be bright enough. But what I can say, it's not that hard to get that thing running, because it contains a TNC board, TNC chip, running an Arduino code, and it was really much easier than I thought, like, to get that thing running. But if that's finished, I'm gonna give you as well a nice tutorial. Have a look inside what's going on here. What's maybe worth to mention, I have like a Neutrik plug now, like to have a proper connection between that thing and my and the cable basically. So yeah, that works perfectly. It's just a USB thing. On the other side, I did solder a USB plug on it, and this has 4 pins and Neutrik, so it's plus minus like 5 volts and the 2 data cores. So that's it. Very cool. What I'm trying to say is, if you're not happy with what's on the market, Footswitch wise, do it. Build your own one. It's really not that hard. Okay, I think I covered most of it, or pretty much everything that comes into my mind. What I can say, like, a setup will never be finished. Like, I had a few years, I had this thing in my head, yeah, okay, you got to do this tutorial when everything is finished and everything is nice and tidy, but it's not going to be like that. It's a constant process. Things are going, new things are going to get released, you know, so it's a constant improving. So yeah, make the best out of it. This setup is a work of probably, like, for the last 7 years, like, or even more, 8, something like that. I improved that, like, I was going in stereo, then with 2 stereo, like, there were so many different versions that I was working with. So, by the way, I think I mentioned that stereo and that 8-channel out. Anyway, if you have like more questions, my brain is like exploding. If you have more questions, just drop me a mail, comment below, whatever. I try to help you out as good as possible. I hope I covered everything. If not, yeah, like I said, just contact me. So, thanks for watching. I hope I could show you a little bit of my world, because this is my world, and in fact, this is where I spend my most time. And yeah, hope that you got some bits out of it. If, again, free to download, spread the word, like, tell it to everyone, like, who might be interested in it, even if there's just simple devices or track routing ideas or anything like that. Hope I could help you. Thanks for watching again. Have a good time. Have fun controlling your setup. Bye. Ableton, by the way, big, massive props. I'm still such a fan, and it's unbelievable what it's that I'm always discovering new things, like, after so many years. So means a lot to me. Great. Cheers. Bye.